Welcome to Trial by Podcast, a podcast featuring your favourite Facebook admins and the occasional YouTuber, here to discuss all things A Song of Ice and Fire or Game of Thrones. My name's Philip, and I admin on Donald Noy. I'm going to introduce my guests to you as Danzy, Tim, and Bartek, with two guests who are not here yet. Hopefully they'll appear at some time in the show. Off you go, guys.
Well, I'm Danzy, and I make Game of Thrones shoebox dioramas. And I post pictures of them quite frequently.
Tim?
No, I'm actually a YouTuber. I do Danzy reviews on YouTube. You can check that out. Lots of fun Game of Thrones stuff going on there.
Yeah, I'm Tim. I admin the Donald Noy page with Phil. Do some character analysis and mainly bashing on the show.
And lastly of our current company.
My name is Bartek, but you may know me as Orius from Phil McCracken. I'm an admin there, together with Phil McCracken, or Lord Phil McCracken. And I don't do much. Yeah.
Okay, so we have our guests. The original Phil McCracken should be joining us at some point, as will the admin of an Oberyn Martell page when he gets home, whenever he actually gets home. So to start off, it has been just under a week since season 4 finished. Not necessarily a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. So, first off, what were the best things in season 4 for you guys?
I would say probably episode 9.
Yeah.
What Watches on the Wall, just because I mean, the other episodes they had a kind of mainly in D&D's episodes, to be honest, they didn't really have a kind of structure to them, whereas Watches on the Wall had a good beginning, middle, end structure. The others were just kind of a bit of a mess.
Yeah, which is probably easier because it's one season. But yeah, I think I'd probably agree. Watching the Wall was probably one of the best things about this season. Nancy, favourite thing about this season?
I think generally what was my favorite thing about the season was the acting. I think that the acting really, it took a step above and beyond from what we've seen later. Like, old actors were stepping up more and improving, and then we had some new actors that were contributing a lot as well. But favorite episode? Probably The Lion and the Rose, episode 2. I think it was the best written, and I think it was the most faithful to the books, but I think that makes sense, as obviously George R. R. Martin wrote it.
And Bartek?
Well, I was looking mostly forward towards the big scenes from the books, such as the Moat and Viper fight in the Battle of the Wall, and I was really content with the Battle of the Wall, you know? It certainly reminded me of Blackwater.
Yeah, it was good.
They're quite similar battles, I think, in general.
Although,
In scale, yeah.
They were done similarly, you know, both of them took the entire episode, and they were done really well in general.
Yeah, Neil Marshall can direct battle scenes. I'd give him that, definitely.
although one thing although I liked episode 9 the best, I do think that episode 6, Laws of Gods and Men, was the best written, best acted. Even though, regardless of the Asher attack on the Dreadful scene.
Yeah, I mean, it was Cogman, and let's be honest, I don't think any of us would complain if Cogman took over from D&D.
And it was the first episode in the season where Stannis was written properly. So.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that scene in episode 2, the dinner scene, not the burning scene, because that was a weird confliction there between Stannis on the beach and then Stannis actually in the room when he's kind of, you'll do no such thing to my daughter.
Well, I mean, I think a bit of an issue there was, at the end of season 3, there was this big build-up of this urgency that he needed to get to the wall. And then the first time we see him in season 4, he's literally sitting down and eating dinner. Do you know what I mean? And like all of that urgency is dropped. And I think that was kind of poorly handled. But I mean, eventually they got him to where he needed to be by season 10 or by episode 10. But
yeah, that charge was one of my favorite. That's probably my favorite.
I think because I found episode 10 a bit disappointing. Actually, I was kind of conflicted on it. That was the highlight of the episode for me. Was Stannis.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
On the subject of Stannis, if you're watching a YouTube video, the fan art you can see is, or I hope it is, assuming that the artist accepts me to use this piece. If not, it's someone else's. It's by Sirius Crane, who is an excellent artist who does a lot of house art based on HBO's kind of designs. And in many cases, they are actually better than the HBO designed banners. So yeah, go check them out if you like house sigils. Back to actual house discussion.
Danzy made a point about acting. One thing I would say who's improved, like who seemed a bit kind of not so good in previous seasons, is Kit Harington.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. He stepped up quite a bit. I found his acting in the first 3 seasons, I just found it so wooden and just so mopey and so I don't know. I don't want to say that he was a particularly weak actor, but I think he struggled a lot. Yeah.
I think he had a lot of experience. I think he had quite a lot of experience between season 3 and 4. I mean, he filmed Pompeii and he filmed some of the Spooks films then. But I think he's had quite a lot of out of Game of Thrones experience, which has probably helped him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a fairly new actor. He doesn't have a lot of credits. So.
What other good things were there?
Mountain Viper Duel.
Yeah, it was quite short though.
It was short in the books as well. Because it only
can still imagine they've shown to give it more time, like develop it more.
Although I do have one little criticism of it. Like, you never felt at any point during the duel that Oberyn would lose, whereas you kind of did in the books. It was much more evenly matched. Whereas here it seemed like they kind of had Oberyn lose for shock value.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think there was I remember there was one hit where Oberyn just steps a little bit too close and the mountain just smacks him onto the ground, and when he breaks his spear as well. I think there was a sense that he could have lost, but yeah, overall there was more, I don't know, heroic kind of cliche action film vibe to it.
Well, the mountain didn't seem to have a fighting chance because he was too slow and lumbering and always missing.
Yeah.
It was well choreographed, though. Like the choreography was really well done.
And Pedro Pascal did an excellent job of learning wushu. I think is the fighting thing. He learned it in 2 weeks or something, or learned the basics.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive.
Indeed.
So I think what we all want to talk about, which is the bad things about season 4.
Oh boy.
Grey Worm and Missandei, just to get the ball rolling.
Where shall we start from?
He still has a tongue.
Yeah.
Would that go under deviations or?
No, that's bad things. This is straight up bad things.
Yeah.
It's a deviation and it's bad. Can it be both?
This is bad things that are not necessarily deviations that would make any show bad.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about bad things, or things that are cut out as bad things, or bad deviations?
Cut out would come under deviations, so
fair enough.
Stick to things that were in that one.
So no Taisha yet then.
No Tisha, no, not yet.
Yeah, Grey
No
Worm
acting either.
Yeah, Grey Worm was probably the worst thing.
Character is 10 years old in the book.
Yeah, that was a bit creepy.
has sexual tension.
So it's like they aged her up just for that, so they could show her tits on the screen.
Similar with Tommen.
Yeah, with Tom. Yeah. I think the actor who played him is doing an okay job. But yeah, he seems a bit old.
Okay,
Quite old.
Yeah, he magically aged about 6 years in the span of 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I think as
Sexual side things with Marjorie. That's a positive, right?
I wasn't very dissatisfied about it. So yeah.
Another bad thing I found, like I mentioned this before, like because of the Watchers on the Wall being like a very well written episode with beginning, middle, end. It was mainly in the D&D episodes. The writing seems to be a bit all over the place. Like it didn't seem structured. Just kind of like randomly jumping from one scene. So it was a criticism I had of like last year's season finale, and that they kind of improved upon it on this season's finale. Is that they kind of jumped, like they tried to force all the characters into one episode to give them all conclusions in the last season's finale. They didn't do that this year, but in some of the early episodes, like episode 3, for instance, they didn't seem to have kind of any semblance when they jumped from one scene to the next.
Yeah, I mean... sorry, go ahead. No, after you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Viper in the Mountain. That entire episode was kind of jam-packed with filler.
That episode probably suffered the most from pacing issues, I would say. It's, you really, like, it all just, like, I think I said this in one of my review videos, it really just felt like the scenes at not at the Dreadfort, at Moat Cailin. It just seemed like it flew by in jump cuts. Like, everything that happened there.
It's like, and I think the main problem with that was the Beatles scene, like before the duel.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But that goes more like to deviations, doesn't it?
No. I'm talking about it in terms of Okay, well, shall we let him introduce himself?
Let him introduce himself when he appears as talking. McCracken talk.
It's me, Phil McCracken.
Release the crack.
Beautiful introduction, Phil.
Yeah, thanks.
McCracken.
We were just actually.
Besides, just I'm the Kraken. What page do you run?
Phil McCracken.
You had to say it, and you had to like.
Yep, he does.
Kraken's kind of like the Scooby-Doo of our podcast.
How?
What am I?
You can be,
Yeah. That makes sense, actually.
I'll take Freddy.
Who does that make me?
No, but I eat.
You can be
a
Daphne.
lot, but I'm still skinny.
I'll be Velma.
Well, gang, I guess it's time to unmask this monster.
Oh god.
It was Old Man Jenkins all along.
I would have gotten away with it handing a few meddling kids.
Anyways, Phil, since we're talking about the worst stuff of the season, and I feel like this is kind of your area of expertise, why don't you go ahead on that one?
2 words. Alex Graves.
Well, we could definitely talk about the Jamie rape scene.
Yeah.
We cannot talk
Whose
about
doing was that?
Should we
Well,
talk about
not
that
in
in
detail,
deviations
but-
instead?
I think that comes under deviations.
But,
Alright. We'll save it.
yeah.
Let
About
it
the whole
simmer.
about the whole Beatles thing. I was saying because this isn't because of deviations, because like where it was placed in the episode, it was right before the duel, and everyone's looking forward to the duel right at the end of the episode, and they spend 4 minutes talking about beetles, everyone's thinking, hurry up and get to the fucking jewel. And if it was like placed earlier in the episode, it wouldn't have been so bad, but
yeah,
it was.
I think that what they could have had there instead was more build up to the fight, like more of the Mountain getting his armor on, and more stuff like Oberyn choosing not to wear a helmet, and his talk with yeah.
Poor stable boy.
But it felt like that sort of talk about the Beatles was kind of a vamp down when it should have been ramping up to something that was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But Orson Scott Card is important.
Because, having a petty little dig at the writer of Ender's Game was important. Remember?
Well, I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that you need to not bring your personal battles into a TV show, but...
What was the stupid noise Orson made?
Oh,
Kunk.
Yeah.
No, they could have used it to set up the whole Taisha thing in the finale as well. Instead.
Yeah, or set up, maybe, what would have been really cool was maybe having one of Oberyn's sand snakes there. Like, just in the back, and you see her, like, just this one shot of her kind of seeing what happened. I know that wasn't in the books, but I just think that would be a better tie into what is going to be happening next season.
Just sand snakes trying to kill everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Bastard daughter's vengeance.
Kill Lannisters all along.
Yeah.
Barristan just on the front cover with a spear. Other really bad things about this.
Emilia Clarke's acting.
Yes.
So what are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's the most inspiring thing.
Just the eyes, you just look into them and you get lost, and just this warm fuzzy feeling.
It was like in that scene where she's banishing Jorah, she's staring at the ceiling, and it's so jarring. Like it's weird. She's not looking at him; she's looking at the ceiling.
You know what? I'll be the first to admit I'm not the biggest Daenerys fan, but that scene of Jorah being banished should have taken up way more time instead of all of the Missandei Grey Worm crap that went on in the exact same episode.
I would have rather watched the Hound walking for 10 straight minutes than Grey Worm Missandei.
Yeah.
I would just rather walking in silence for.
Yeah.
To some like awesome backing music.
Or just have Stannis just walking around and just
Stannis reading a book.
just grinding his teeth.
Just grinding his teeth.
Stannis shaving his wife's mustache.
As a rule for good filler, yeah, that would work.
That's another thing, is a lot of times this season there was filler, but then in a lot of episodes it was way too rushed, and I think that they could have balanced taking out a lot of that filler and spreading out the rushed episodes to across the 10 that they had more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So just balance, I think, is a big issue.
I mean, the comment was on the Beatles one was like, if you listen carefully, you can hear D&D masturbating to their own work.
Yeah, that was weird.
They think they're better than Martin.
Conk.
And as a result, want to put in more of their own writing than there previously has been.
I don't even get why.
The filler scenes in season 1, I thought were actually pretty good. Like, you have the Robert and Cersei scene, which is one of probably the best acted scenes. And like in season 2, we had the Tywin and Arya scenes, which were very good. But the filler scenes and like the later 2 seasons don't seem to like have don't tell us anything new really, or don't seem to be any point, but like just to waste time.
I wonder if that's a product of reading the books after seeing season 1. I don't want to think it is, but might be.
You know, I think that if oh, sorry, go ahead, Phil.
You guys ever wondered why the show is called Game of Thrones?
Because the only book they properly adapted was the first one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sadly true.
Who said that? Like, who came up with the joke?
I can't remember. But whoever you are, whoever came up with that joke,
Shout out to him.
shout out to him or her, whoever said
Well, fill your Kraken. Just tell us where you live.
Oh god.
In the deepest, darkest oceans is where the Kraken lurks. Coming up only to troll.
Puns.
There's Wi-Fi everywhere.
Okay, have we done all the really bad things that aren't specifically deviations?
How about lack of Brian Cogman?
Yeah.
That's just a real
D&D wrote 7 episodes.
That's a bad thing.
D&D haven't been fired from the show yet. That's another.
Well, they're the producers. They're not going to get fired.
Did episodes.
Yeah. His episodes were definitely the weakest.
Well, Lion in the Rose.
Lion in the Rose is good.
Holding his hand, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so badly you can mess up if your writing is just awesome. So.
Yeah. I mean, we found out, we realized he's the reason that Loris and Oberyn have their little eye contact.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if he took over as the showrunner?
Oh god. Don't put those nightmares in my head.
Throw another leech into the fire and whisper another usurper's name, that's what.
Okay, moving on to maybe slightly more positive things.
Alright.
Best scene. This season.
But you haven't said a lot recently, weren't you?
Sorry, what?
I was saying Bartek hasn't said a lot, so maybe he should open the best scene.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet.
Okay.
Well, I'll start. I mean, as much as I love the Stannis scene, and he's obviously a character that's really close to my heart, I think that the best scene in terms of acting, writing, was actually Joffrey's death. And the wedding.
Yeah. It's up there. It's up there. Perhaps I wouldn't have called it the best, but that's my opinion.
I would say Tyrion's trial.
Tyrion's trial was pretty good too.
Tyrion's trial.
Tyrion's trial. I'll try to think something different.
Well, that's why Joffrey's death was so nice to hear.
I want to say Stannis riding in, but I can't. And it really annoys me that I can't say that.
Yeah, I'm in the same place.
Oh, I know. The fight at the end of the crossroads.
Yes.
Well,
Yes. Perhaps one of the best. Yeah.
Battle of the
What
Wall.
about chicken?
the Battle of the Wall was an entire episode, so it's not a...
It was like an episode-long scene, really.
Tormund running around like a Viking god.
Yeah.
Alistair Thorne.
That's something. I think Alistair Thorne, I think, was a good deviation, but
Well, we'll get to that.
Slint.
Yeah.
Fetch me a blockhead.
If that is ruined, I'm gonna just flip when that happens. Yeah. Okay, I agree. Tyrion's trial or the Purple Wedding. Best two scenes.
Okay.
I don't think.
I'd love to say Only Cat was the best scene, but it simply wasn't. And it wasn't even Only Cat, it was Only Your Sister.
It was limp.
Mainly because Littlefinger is one of my favorite characters. So, yeah.
I don't know. I have to disagree with you there, Bartek. I think that was a nitpick on behalf of a lot of book readers. I think at the end of the day, it didn't really matter that much, but that's just my opinion.
Well, say that one thing about it is because he says, "I've only loved one woman my entire life, only one," and then he follows it with "your sister." It would work. It would flow better, I think, with dialogue if he said "only Cat," because that's 3 onlys in a row.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be an element of thinking. Yeah.
I just think that with all the other problems that episode had, that was the one that people went after the most.
I think
Like our one friend.
they rushed the Snow Winterfell scene. I think.
Yeah.
At least Robin got backhanded.
Yeah.
That was a good deviation.
That was pretty satisfying, for sure.
Best portrayal of a character from the books. So who performed? Okay, Stephen Delaney is out of the contest because
Why?
it's too easy. Because it's too easy.
Wish we could say Burn Thorman.
Pardon?
Joffrey.
Possibly. What was your answer, Tim?
I said I guess Charles Dance is out of the question as well.
No.
Yeah,
Charles Hanson.
Amelia Clark.
Oh, no.
Perfect understanding of a character.
Mrs. Sunday.
I do feel kind of sorry for Natalie Emmanuel.
I mean, like, it's tempting to say, like, Tyrion in terms of best acting, but in terms of how they've, like, matched the character from the books, not so well, simply because of the whitewashing in the last episode.
What about Rory McCann?
Yeah, very good. Especially the Gift of Mercy scene.
Every time I feel like he's a little less savage, he then like starts swearing like crazy.
My knee-jerk reaction is to say Peter Dinklage, but because I think half of the fan base is probably going to say Peter Dinklage on that one, I'd go with Sophie Turner.
Yes.
What about Tronte?
Who?
Tranty.
Oh, Mary Trent.
The sweetest gentleman in Westeros.
That admin should be on this podcast.
I will
Guest star.
I will have an entire episode dedicated to Mary Trent.
Whoever you are, come join us.
I'm going to put my vote for Alfie Allen for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
Alfie Allen is a good choice too, yeah.
Because, like, Reek is incredibly different to Theon of Season 2. And you can kind of tell he did a very good job of it, I think. Even though he was only in 3 episodes.
I want to give my criticism a little bit to the makeup department. I think that the makeup department could have done a lot more to make him look really like he spent the last year and a half in a hole. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted to see, like, some teeth knocked out and, like, some lesions on his face and hair falling out and just make him look like a monster.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same criticism I think you could give to the
Blood Raven.
White Horse Go scene, although it isn't the White Horse Go scene, which is there should be more shit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the opening chapter in Dance for Reek is horrible to read.
It is, yeah. He talks about how he eats his own fingers and... Yeah.
And that's why brutal. I hate Ramsay the most.
Yeah.
Well, I hate Dario the most.
Dario's just...
Well, at least with Ramsay, you can love to hate him.
Yeah. It's kind of like Joffrey Ramsay.
Why are they trying to make Dario look like such a great guy? Series regular next season?
Because they're trying to make Dany look better, and if she's trying to bang a nice guy, I suppose it makes her look a bit better.
But I think
he's going to be a series regular, damn it.
I think Bartek's right with Joffrey, though. Even though he was only in 2 episodes, Jack Leeson sadly giving up acting.
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, if he's happier doing something else, then good on him. But
we will remember you, Jack Leeson, for your little boy role as Batman's token saving kid, and as Joffrey.
Has anyone seen that video where he says, my, it's sunny outside, in the normal voice and in a villain voice?
Yes.
Yeah. No, he's a good actor. It's sad to see him give it up.
He should have won an Emmy.
Yeah. I suppose I think fans wouldn't react to having someone as dislikable as Joffrey win an Emmy.
The only ones who seem to get nominated are Peter and Amelia.
I don't think Peter's going to win, honestly.
You don't think so? Who else is in his category, actually? I haven't even looked.
Well, think of Breaking Bad Season 5.
Actually, that's a point.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Paul's in the same category, isn't he?
At least it's not Bryan Cranston.
No, because... Yeah, he's Main actor, I think.
Is Peter considered main actor? Or supporting?
I thought he got
Supporting, yeah.
considered main.
If he's
No,
main,
he's supporting.
he's supporting.
Yeah. For whatever reason.
This is deviating from Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire completely. Am I alone in thinking that Aaron Paul was on par with Bryan Cranston in terms of acting? And was slightly under-recognized?
Not an
No,
Aussie
you're not
Yes.
alone in that.
Didn't think. Anyway, back to
Should we go on to worst portrayal?
worst portrayal.
Kekali, whatever the hell you pronounce it as.
Yeah, that's something I'd have to agree with. I wasn't really on board with Sybil Kelly's portrayal at all. I think that she's definitely been kind of the weakest actress in the series.
That's partly the writing.
It is partly the writing, that's true. To be fair, it is very much the writing.
Because the Tyrion's trial team was very well acted, she kind of made it awkward a bit with her acting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember how everyone was complaining about Tyrion's first few scenes with Shay, where neither of them looked like that good on screen as actors?
Oh, yeah.
I think that was directing. I mean,
And then
partly.
Tyrion's trial happens, and everyone's talking about how good he is again.
Yeah, you have a point there, actually, Kraken. That's very true.
8 points.
8 points for House Kraken.
You have won the House Cup. Or the Podcast Cup.
Podcast.
I hope I get on the show. Actually, wait, no, that lets Graves and D&D have fun with me.
Oh god. They'll have you, it became consensual rape scenes next.
Yeah.
How much money do you have? Do you have, the 40 grand needed to give to George R. R. Martin?
To kill you off
and
in a...
write you into his book?
Yeah.
We could raise it.
Okay,
You could be like a lesser House of the Iron Islands.
To get Phil McCracken in as the, as a character to be killed off in the Song of Ice and Fire. Everyone donate all your money to it now.
Yeah.
We have a site for that. We'll find one. By the time this is up.
We'll have found one.
I wonder what would happen if D&D found my page, how they'd react.
They don't read into that criticism though, so...
Well, I mean, they say that they don't go on fan pages, but that's such bullshit. Of course they do.
They do, yeah.
And they, and a good point is, the Jamie rape scene, they were all over defending that. If you don't read things on the internet, then how did you know that there was such a big fan outrage?
Interviewer told you?
Someone might have mentioned it to them.
Wow. I mean, and that is probably more likely. They probably have someone that looks into it, but...
It's like someone...
I don't think that they ignore things that are being said on the internet. I just don't think so.
Hey, it's their shock factor. They know that they'll have a lot of reactions.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, McCracken's gone.
No!
Guys, you didn't donate enough. Donate now to get Kraken.
Dying, like this post to save the Kraken.
I think if they did actually read into
it's 100 prayers.
If they did actually read into
to the sevens, and to R'hllor, and to the drowned god.
Sorry, Tim, what were you saying? We just got you twice.
That's fine. I was saying, if they did actually read internet criticism, I think they would have committed suicide by now. Just the amount of views.
They might pick and choose. Maybe they only go on Reddit, or,
Oh my god! The people that watch the show actually read the books!
If I was looking for criticism, Reddit is not the first place I would look.
It's not like if they did actually read criticism on the internet, they would have known that there was an expectation of Stoneheart in the finale, and they wouldn't have hyped it up so much.
That's true, but I mean, it is possible that they read something and then they just ignore it. They might have felt that they just
Like the books.
There's no way that they didn't know about Stoneheart. They just made the decision to not put her in.
She was a waste, remember? A waste.
Oh, I can't believe he used the word waste. Like, literally the word waste. He said, it's, I think, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, it's stupid to have Catelyn just go around killing people. And it's like, well, no, it's not, because you have a main character that just came back from the dead that has not wasted screen time at all.
I was just taking a moment there to appreciate my joke, but okay, just carry on.
Wait. We missed the joke. I'm so sorry.
It's well because Danzy said like that I don't think they'd ignore something they'd read, and I said like the book.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay, McCracken, we'll be back relatively.
Send your donations now.
If we raise $100,000, we will send you your own personal film of Kraken.
So, are we done on worst betrayal?
Save the Kraken today.
We didn't really go on to worst portrayal.
Yeah, we went off on a tangent, but
yeah,
I think
we did.
Tangents are good.
It's I think probably it's probably Sybil Kelly really. I mean, Amelia's up there.
But she at least gets the self-righteousness, I think, because she herself is self-righteous.
Yeah, you should see what she says about her character. It's funny.
She doesn't understand Danny at all, and it's
I
hilarious.
really hate that she has gotten nominated for so many Emmys, and Michelle Fairley, who played Catelyn, didn't get nominated for anything.
It's a popularity contest.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, because Catelyn's a waste.
Yeah. Obviously.
I mean, who needs a good plot cliffhanger when you have Grey Worm and Missandei fanfiction and Beatles?
Yeah.
Okay, now on to... I think we'll go on to worst deviations, and then come back to good deviations, so we do end on a relatively positive note.
Alright.
Well, but we've got Dario, and...
We've got Dario on the worst deviation, so that might bring the we hate everything down to a new level of low. But, okay. Worst deviation of the series.
Oh. Should we start from the very beginning? Like, episode 1? Well,
I was thinking the worst overall, not worst per episode, but whatever you feel like.
Episode 1, I don't think there was any kind of thing that stand out in episode 1 that was deviation. Like, episode 2, okay, we have Stannis burning people for being infidels. Number 1. Okay, well, actually, my main kind of concern about deviations was episode 3, where they butchered several of my favourite characters.
Stannis.
Let's talk about the Jaime rape scene.
Let's not talk about the Jaime rape scene. Let's just
We're
talk
whipping it
about
out.
Jaime being ruined in general.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the point. I should probably talk about Jaime's arc as a whole being kind of weak this season.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't really develop at the beginning. He's growing disillusioned with Cersei and like kind of growing further apart. Then he rapes her. Fuck you, Alex Graves. Then at the end of the season, he's back together with her as a kind of complete deviation, and he's screwing her in the White Sword Tower, which is like completely opposite of what he does in the books. And it didn't make sense, really. Like, he's growing apart and then they're back together at the end.
The thing I think with Jaime in this season has been, like, when he's not doing the sex scenes, he's always been, I think we've seen kind of the dissolution kind of growing between them.
Yeah.
But then the sex scenes, so really it just comes across as Jaime is just really one horny bugger and he just wants to fuck someone.
Or D&D are just inconsistent writers.
Well, I've taken that as a given, not something I'd take into consideration, but...
Should I bring up Tysha with this, or?
Worst deviations, we'll move on to Tyrion whitewashing when we're done with Jaime.
Oh,
well, I mean, one thing about Jaime is I saw a lot of people say that, this is just how they have sex. Like Cersei likes to role play that Jaime's raping her. And that's fine. Like, I'm not, but if you're gonna have that, then you need to set it up a hell of a lot better than how they did it.
I don't care, he says, and she says, no, stop.
Yeah. Like, people are gonna call that a rape scene unless you have some setup for it just being how they have sex.
Or unless you're Alex Graves, it'd be head consensual, but...
Well, I think I speak for everyone here. I don't have a problem with, or maybe I don't, I shouldn't say that, but I don't have a problem with rape in media. Like, I don't have a problem with it being in there or as something that's too adult. This is an adult show, and it's fine. It's the same thing as people getting their heads chopped off. It's just an element of what the show is. But if you're gonna have it, then you need to have it make sense. You can add 5 rape scenes an episode, but you have to have it make sense and add something to the story.
Well, like,
not just shove it in there for shock value.
I think it's not. I don't think people are crying out because it's like the horrid act. Because I've seen a lot of people saying like, "Oh, why are you surprised about it? This is Game of Thrones and people die." And so, but like, it's more to do with the fact that they're ruining Jaime's character.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that the character would not do in the books. Period.
No, I mean the entire scene in A Feast of Crows when he saves Pia, is it? From the Mountains Men at Harrenhal.
Oh yeah, and he has Ellen Payne kill the one that rapes her or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. So is that Jaime done? Are we beyond?
Well, because we were talking a bit about rape here, but I was just going to say, who looks at the story like A Song of Ice and Fire and thinks, you know what this needs? More rape.
Yeah. And then there was Carl Tanner. I think literally in the next scene he was like, rape them until they die.
I didn't like that so much because I think that fit.
Oh really?
It fit his character. I think that fit his character.
His character was so silly.
It wasn't necessary, but
yeah.
As a scene, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like particularly out. It wasn't like James' scene, which was completely out of character. It was in character, just a little bit unnecessary.
Well, I don't know. I mean, for a show that prides itself on grey villains, it just seems a little bit weird to have this very, very black villain there and not really having any redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Well, okay, I think that brings us on to the whole Tyrion point. Like, there's like one of my issues with the show is that it doesn't really kind of take a great complex standpoint. It's either characters or it categorizes characters into black and white. As you should be rooting for these characters and you should dislike these characters. And
that's whitewashing, really, what it boils down to. It's them thinking that gray complex characters are too hard for the audience to grasp, and so they're kind of drawing a line in the sand and putting them on one side or the other.
There's actually an article on the internet about George Martin, how he got all his money by being a writer in the Hollywood. And what he realized in the Hollywood is that what Hollywood is doing is they're either whitewashing everyone or making someone an absolute villain. So what he did is he started writing the Song of Ice and Fire, and one of the ideas about writing those was to stop what Hollywood was doing and to make those characters great, to show that no one's perfect, that no one's absolutely evil, no one's absolutely good, etc., etc. And what D&D did with this, well, what the show did with this, is they absolutely flipped it around, and it misses the entire, well, not the entire point, but one of the
main points.
Reasons why George R. Martin wrote the Song of Ice and Fire is to prevent what this show did with it.
Yeah.
There's actually an article about that. I shared it on my page. But
what's George's quote is like, in all fantasy, there's two sides of good and evil, but I've always seen good and evil as a battle within a person, and so that's why in my books, it's always the battle of good and evil is in the person's heart, and not on the battlefield or in the kind of throne room.
Well, and that's what makes a lot of these characters so beautiful, is that you can, depending on your life experience and who you are as a reader or a viewer, you can look at a character and you can make an attachment to them based on maybe you think that Theon's evil, or maybe you think that he's just misunderstood. Like, you can make an attachment and you can make your own judgment there.
Well, that is true, but in the same way, it does make the fandom a bit toxic of sorts, because there's like a lot of war waging between, this character's good, no, he's completely evil. It's well, the fandom is a bit toxic in that kind of sense.
Toxic is a really strong word for that, but I would say
people pick sides.
At a certain level, it's interesting, but that level, there's a line between interesting and toxic, and you've got to get that.
There is a lot of war waged between the whole kind of Stannis and Daenerys camps.
That's further showing how Song of Ice and Fire is more like the real world, where actually people have different ideas about different people, and they have their own little wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, Bartek. That's totally true.
Like, I hate socialists.
No, but I mean, in real life, you think about your workspace or your office, people pick sides. It's the same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So Dario. That's all I'm gonna say. Mario having an appearance change. He's Benjamin Stark.
Well, I mean, I think that the biggest missed opportunity was not having Stoneheart, but something that was a bad deviation, I would say, Jamie, the rape scene.
Yeah. Should we talk about Tyrion?
Yeah, Tyrion. Where horse go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great page, too, by the way, Where Horse Go.
Yeah, great page. Go check it out.
It is.
Yeah.
And hating Jamie.
Yeah.
But
They ended on this kind of Tyrion and Jamie having this kind of really nice little cute hug. Which, I mean, I think even if you watch it and you don't like it, it is a sweet kind of moment. It's I think I've said this before that you can hand Dinklage and Nicola Costa-Wald, however you say his name, you can hand them any lines whatsoever, and they will make the scene at the minimum good. Like even the Beatles scene is ridiculous in terms of its actual.
It's held together by their acting. Yeah.
It does get held together. Yep. And so that final scene was really sweet.
As Jamie says, who gives a dusty fuck about Beatles?
Yes, exactly. And yeah, with this kind of final scene, instead of Tyrion leaving Jamie in this kind of very antagonistical kind of hatred almost between two brothers, they've just left and they're like best friends, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
It's a missed opportunity because it's not.
Yeah.
Because like one of the things I've seen people say is like, oh well, like show watchers aren't going to remember who Taisha are, so they shouldn't bring her up. But they established her in a monologue in season 1, and they've mentioned her in passing in season 3 and stuff. So it's like, why would you include the backstory at all if you're not going to use it at its most pivotal moment?
Well, and I mean, all they needed to do was have previously on Game of Thrones, have him talking about Taisha. Yeah. And then people would have remembered. That's all they really needed.
And there's a big song and dance bit. It basically replaces the battle at the Green Fork, doesn't it? That entire scene was because they realised they ran out of money to film that actual battle. So they just did the kind of the fake out where
Tyrion passes out.
He gets knocked out.
And then replace that with the interesting.
Because I've seen some show watchers actually argue that, well, he does actually have some motivation to kill him because Tywin's been horrible to him his whole life, etc. But I've seen other show watchers kind of confused why he went up to the chambers in the first place, because it's not kind of clear why he does it on the show.
Yeah, he just kind of goes in to check out his what's
so
happening.
one of the things I've noticed too is that in the books he first meets Varys. Varys leads him there and tells him where Tywin is, whilst in the show he just randomly enters the chambers from somewhere.
Yeah.
Pastures around King's Landing.
But it's like, if he was in the prison, think about how far away the Tower of the Hand is from the prison. Do you know what I mean? How much of a detour? He probably had to take a 45-minute walk just to get up there.
Yeah.
And it seems a little bit weak because they didn't have a reason for him to do that.
Yeah.
And then there's his self-defense killing of Shay.
That's Tyrion's not a nice guy. Can we just establish that?
That was supposed to be his dark turn in the books, where he straight out murders her.
Yeah.
Because, some people say it's justified. I disagree that it's justified. You can sort of justify it, but that's
understandable. It's not really justified.
Well, I think it's a great moment because it's an ambiguous, people are kind of on the fence whether it's justifiable or not. Here, it's kind of they gave Shay a knife, so you can kind of see Tyrion's the good guy because he's defending himself.
Well, and that comes down to more whitewashing as well, right? That's making a character less grey.
But guys, the Shay-Tyrion romance was really sweet.
It didn't make sense.
You know what? I'm going to argue that I didn't really like the Shay-Tyrion romance in the book either.
It wasn't a romance in the book.
Well, that's true. It wasn't a romance in the book.
Well, I think it was a romance from Tyrion's side.
Yeah, it wasn't reciprocated. She's fleshed out a lot more in the show.
Much like Jane, Wesley, and Marjorie.
That's actually, we kind of, I would say that one thing that the show has on the books is Marjorie. Marjorie is very much a character that I love in the show, whereas in the books, I just thought that she was alright.
She's just kind of there.
Yeah.
We missed out Natalie Dormer when we said best portrayal.
It's true, she's underrated for sure. And Diana Rigg, actually. We got a lot of good Tyrell scenes this season.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss her as well, because it seems like she's gone.
Well, that's another thing I think the show has over... But I prefer Alice Thorne in the show.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in the books, John trains with Iron Emmett, mostly, in Dance with Dragons, Iron Emmett's spar a lot.
Yeah.
And does he do much kind of conferring with Rowan Marsh and anyone else? Or kind of major Night's Watch people?
I think he mostly talks with Sam.
Yeah. Well, Sam goes away, doesn't he?
Well, later he does, yeah, for sure.
But I think Alistair Thorne's gonna take a kind of Iron Emmett kind of role. Because Iron Emmett takes over Master at Arms. But do they really want to introduce this kind of character who's always just been in the background? Probably not.
Well, I mean, I said this in my review video. I like that they didn't just make him a bully for John. You see that he's a high rank in the Night's Watch for a reason. And it's because he's responsible and he ultimately wants what's best for the Night's Watch.
But you don't see in the book.
Yeah, it's true. You don't see it in the book.
Well, there's one line, I think it is, from Jewel. That's it's very kind of, I have to.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's whatever the reverse of whitewashing is, grey washing, I guess. They gave to him for sure, and that was really nice.
Well, in a sense, he was whitewashed because they made him look better than he did in the book. So.
Well, I don't know, but he's still an asshole. I mean, I don't think that anybody forgot about, him being a really big jerk to John.
I think he'll definitely have a kind of almost redemption arc, maybe, in season 5. And
that would be cool to see. That would be a nice little subplot.
I think might have, Fetch Me a Block. I'm hoping kind of that, when kind of Janos Slint is all, trying to be disrespectful to John, Alistair Thorne, kind of helps John, I suppose, like clamps down on Janos or something, like turns on him.
Well, I know in the books, I think he was kind of really buddy with Janos Slint.
Yeah. But then he doesn't do anything when Janos gets taken, he reaches and John just thinks, please just give me a reason.
John sends him away. Ranging or something.
North the wall with,
he sends him on a ranging party.
Who has he got? I can't remember who he goes with. Cheswick, is it? Like the best ranger the Night's Watch has.
Yeah. Well, he ends up sort of sending everyone away, like Pip and Gren, and I think Ed, he sends away because he wants to sort of not have a personal connection with the people that he's ruling over.
But he has Saturn.
But Saturn doesn't really appear until Dance Dragons, so there's
Saturn appears in Storm Swords.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the same growing up experience he has with Gran and Pip.
Yeah, that's true.
Laura said. Well, Ed becomes his squire, doesn't he? So.
Does he? I thought he sent Ed away too. I can't remember.
Yeah, he sent him away to one of the castles to govern it for him.
Yeah, I thought that's what happened, but maybe he was a squire.
I think Ed was his squire.
He was a steward.
Fetch me a block. So yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because Ed is a steward as well, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Whatever. Are we still on worse deviations, or have we gone completely on to good?
One more thing. Shall we move to the Vale? Because as I said already, I'm quite a little finger fan, considering he resembles me quite a lot in real life, and I wasn't really content with the way he was portrayed there. You see, in the books, he has everything planned, everything is the way he wants it to be, he controls everything, he controls everyone. But in the show, Sansa has to save him from the Lords of the Vale interviewing him. It really wasn't Littlefinger-like.
Yeah, it was Sansa that saved his ass.
See, that's a change I liked and disliked, because they actually made Sansa do something when they've kind of they gave her a kind of the shit end of the stick last season. But they had that line about her and Loras' wedding, and she says, "Will my parents be invited to the wedding?" Which is kind of dumb on her part. Didn't, but
badly portrayed.
I was kind of pleased that they began to get a kind of scheming in the show, but at the same time, it kind of had a negative effect on Littlefinger.
I mean,
Yeah, I do like Sansa too.
Nailed that scene. Sophie Turner just...
Yeah. No, I really love Sophie Turner.
Who doesn't love Sophie Turner?
Yeah,
She's cute.
She's really great. And you're allowed to say that she's cute now that she's 18. It's not creepy anymore. It's okay.
In the UK, we're fine.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. And moving on. Any other bad deviations, good deviations?
What about your sister? You know, like, I know some people don't consider it so significant, but other people went quite rage about it, and I wish to know what your opinion is, although we already said a few words about it.
I mean, it annoyed me, but as changes this season have gone, it's not that bad.
I think it's another case of D&D kind of dumbing it down for audiences. Like they had 2 episodes beforehand, Sansa says the word virgin instead of maiden.
Yeah, and that's I don't know. I mean, maybe they're assuming that most people I don't know. I mean, you see them kind of turn down the old-timey speak in quotation marks to kind of something that's a little bit easier to understand if you're just kind of passing by as a viewer.
But the show shouldn't be doing that.
No, and I agree, but I think that's why they've been doing it.
And now on to the awards, our awards ceremony for the best actor.
We need like the Olympics music.
Edit
that in.
I'll edit it in, trust me. So, cue Olympics music. Okay, I'll probably copyright slammed for it, but, oh well.
Find some license-free stuff.
Best actor, best actress, and best episode, because I don't know anything about, like, lighting, or, like, makeup or costumes.
So best actor.
Oh, makeup and... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, wait, you already started it.
Makeup and costumes, for best, The Wedding. The Wedding was amazing, and it's nominated for best costumes for an Emmy. Like, I remember just looking at Marjorie's dress and seeing, like, this beautiful, like, rose filigree, and it was just, I was like, wow, like, somebody put a lot of attention into that.
I don't know enough about makeup and costumes, quite honestly. It's not an area of expertise.
No, fair enough.
So best actor.
Did we actually come to a consensus on this?
Sophie Turner, Dinklage, or... No, I said actor.
This is actor.
Male actor.
Male actors. Yep.
It's between Jack Leeson, Dinklage, Alfie Allen, mainly, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about Stephen Delane? I like Stephen Delane.
Stephen Delane didn't really have anything stand out to do this season.
They don't give him enough scenes is the problem.
He would win it, but...
I'm sure we all agree that he would win with our very unbiased opinion about Stannis.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally worried about Stannis, but I don't know about you, but I can care less about him. Like, I don't love him, I don't hate him.
Wait, just let me Google something. I've got terrible memory for names.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dinklage, Gleeson, or Allen. Or maybe Dance. Maybe Dance can go.
Yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.
I would say all of Team Lannister, actually. I think that the new Tommen was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Lena Headey had some good scenes as well. But other than that, I would also say Sansa.
For actress, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, Sophie Turner.
Probably win that.
I've always said from kind of season 2, 3 onwards that the Lannisters are the best actors on the show.
As a whole, yeah. But then again, all the Starks are just kids, so I mean, it's hard to compare.
Yeah, like, how do you compare Lena Headey to Maisie Williams?
Well, how do you compare Charles Dance to the kid who plays Rickon?
Find Rickon. Another very good page you should go check out.
Yeah, find Rickon.
I think he's on Skagos.
He's Rickon the Explorer going to explore Skagos.
Oh, that's another thing for the books that are coming up. I cannot wait for that storyline to see what happens with him.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be so good.
It will be good.
So, best actor.
Alfie Allen.
Do we put it to a vote?
I'm gonna half vote for Alfie Allen. There's only 3 of us, so
There's 4 of us.
Oh no.
I'm gonna be really unoriginal and say Peter Dinklage.
What if I go with Peter Dinklage and it ends up as a tie?
Then I'm gonna.
But I don't want it
there.
Did you see?
Overall decisions.
I'm gonna go with Alfie Allen.
Yeah, I agree, Alfie Allen.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that as well. Alfie Allen was really well. He was really well done.
Bartek.
I like Downs overall. However, this season he didn't do anything extraordinary. Let it be. What was his name? I'm sorry, I have a really terrible memory for names. The guy you said.
I said Alfie Allen. Theon.
Yeah.
Theon wins.
Yeah.
So, best actor.
Theon was very good as well. Yeah.
You mean
we are slightly hipster, so we will probably avoid English. Best actress. Did we all agree Sophie Turner?
Yeah, maybe.
I gotta go with Sophie Turner.
What about Marjorie?
Yeah.
She didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah, it's the same problem with her as Stephen Delane. There's just not enough for her to showcase what she could do.
I mean, beyond episode 5 and her talk with Cersei, she didn't actually really appear.
Did she even? She appeared.
She kind of disappeared. Yeah.
Was she in the stands during the Viper fight?
She might have been, but
maybe she definitely didn't say anything if she was there.
No, she didn't.
They kept showing shots of her at the trial for some reason.
Well, because she feels guilty because she knows who killed Joffrey, right?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
That makes sense.
Because I was wondering, firstly, why do they keep panning over to her? But
well, I suppose
yeah.
you're going to attract more attention if you put a bit of screen time to Natalie Dormer, but
yeah.
So yes, I've turned best actress, best episode of this season.
Lords of Gods and Men.
I give it 9. I really like the boss.
Yeah.
I just like ground battles, I suppose.
I like big battles.
Yeah, big battles are good. They're big. They're battles.
Well, I'd have to go with sort of a 3-way tie in a lot of ways, although I'd probably give it to The Lion and the Rose, but I also liked episode 6, Laws of God and Men, and then Watchers on the Wall was really well done as well.
Yeah. The 3 main contenders, 2, 6,
Mm-hmm.
9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I you know what, I really want to say The Children, because I think that if Stoneheart had been there, I would have said 10. Or at least I would have been way more inclined to say 10. And if they had added the Taisha stuff.
Yeah. They hyped up the finale too much, I think.
Yeah. It was a lot of hype with not really very much payoff for a cliffhanger.
Well, they did the same thing. Like season 3 had Dany crowd surfing, and this one is Arya on a boat.
Yeah. It just, I don't know, it was a little bit of an anticlimax to see Arya on the boat. I think that they should have, if they were really adamant about not having Stoneheart there, then they should have had Bran finding the 3-eyed Raven as the final shot.
Or or like Tyrion just after killing Tywin, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
That time scene should have had his little accident.
Wherever whores go.
Because quite honestly, Dinklage could pull off like a little talking to himself where he just says, so Tywin Lannister doesn't shit, and just cut to black.
I saw some people say they should have actually had Tywin shit, like after being shot in the bowels. I'm not sure if that would be too comedic though.
You know what? I'm surprised that they didn't have more poop, to be honest. Given the record of over-the-top deaths this season, I thought that they were going to have poop. I didn't necessarily want more poop. I just thought that they would have it.
Yeah.
Although I couldn't stop laughing when the door opens and he's just sitting there and like without no reaction he just says Tyrion, like hands down. Shitter.
Yeah. I'll definitely miss a lot of the actors that are gone now. I mean, Charles Dance, Jack Gleason, Diana Rigg. I don't think she's coming back. It doesn't seem like it, anyways.
Does she have a really big role?
She's at
Not
Tywin.
really. Yeah.
Who's Diana Rigg playing?
Elena Tyrell.
Sorry, Elena Redwine.
Wow. Red wine, or Tyrell Knee red wine.
Yeah. Pretty sure. Didn't the books? I think it said Stim. They don't change their name.
Well, no, they don't have to like in Westeros. They don't have to change their names. I don't think like because Cersei doesn't change her name to Cersei Baratheon. Like,
Yeah. It always confused me.
I think they're kind of referred to either way, just to associate them with their family. Yeah.
Whoever's kind of the major.
and Sansa never becomes Sansa Lannister. So
Yeah. Thank God, I wouldn't want to call her that. That would be weird.
I've seen Sansa haters call her that.
Aww. Sansa's such a good character. I don't know. You know, that's something I've never understood is all the hate that Sansa gets.
I think it's
I don't know.
Because even every reading but one, she's interesting character, but she's not a likable character.
Yeah, you cannot like her in book one, mainly because she sympathizes with Joffrey simply.
Yeah.
She's so naive. Like, even if you don't know the characters, you know that she's naive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. We're going off on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, sorry.
So
Been mostly spurred on by me, I apologize.
that's alright. So best episode then.
Shall we vote again?
Yeah, I think we voted.
Episode 6, Laws of Gods and Men.
9.
Nine. Because I love 9, but 6 was better, just in general.
I'm gonna go 2.
Okay. Winner, Gods and Men.
Yeah. They were all good episodes, to be fair.
They were by far the best. So, yeah, we have now covered my entire list.
Do we have a worst episode?
Worst episode.
Breaker of Chains.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah,
That or Mountain of the Viper. Like I did like Mountain of the Viper. Like it kind of changed my perspective because I really liked the duel, and then I realized on looking back that it was quite a bad episode.
Yeah. It had a good ending, but overall it wasn't all that great.
But yeah, I'd say episode 3, Break of Chains.
Yeah, I fully agree on that one.
Yeah.
I would actually even go as far to say I would call that one of the worst episodes in the series.
I've taken that.
Nominal.
Lack of responses.
Fuck Alex Grays and fuck D&D.
I think that should be our outro.
Yeah.
Donate to McCracken.
And on this bombshell, we end.
And on this bombshell. Like every single Sky advert where they use Game of Thrones is their liking team.
Should we do a shout out to Facebook pages or once more?
We'll repeat our own. We won't shout out other ones just yet because otherwise we'll be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook you need to check out Film Kraken and playlist. So Donald Dan's reviews you need to check out on YouTube. possibly the best Game of Thrones reviews on the internet at the moment.
Aw, thanks, man. What did...
Although he wasn't here, he was here with us in spirit. Check out Oberyn Martell. Links will be in the description. If of course you'll listen to this video. And links to the artist whose artwork you have hopefully been looking at for the last hour and 12 minutes. And I hope you enjoyed our podcast. It's been our pilot episode. Like it, share it with everyone, tell all your friends, get hype, and goodbye.